I want to talk about some stuff in quantum physics, and what has helped me is some of the literature on the UFO and stuff that they have found, but they kept secret, but it keeps leaking out. While I was looking at the files that were released by Bob and the UFO that the government captured, and he was a physicist, and he was studying the internal propulsion system, and basically how this craft was constructed is that they found that there is this element 115, and the engine to this craft had some kind of neutron bombardment of this element. So when this element was bombarded, it emitted rays or that were anti-gravitic waves, and it also emitted antimatter. Okay, so what he was saying is that this antimatter particles surrounded the craft as if in a halo, and then it's just like you're given parts of a puzzle. You're given a few pieces, and if you know quantum physics, I'm able to reconstruct the physics of this craft and draw other conclusions that kind of match other stuff that's coming through the literature. Well, I had to do something like this with my psychic experiences, because many psychics, they have very many varied experiences, and I see that almost all of them, they try to put these experiences in a framework, either a framework of moral philosophy or spiritism or spiritualism. And this is something similar, that there is this physics, and you see these crafts, you see how fast they can travel. So you kind of have to reconstruct what something that was created by an alien creature, and well, when you see in reality that this is happening, you know that the physics is also real. It's not something that I conjured up in my head. There is a physics behind it, and it's worth speculating how this particular physics might be. Well, this brings out to the discussion of what space itself is, and many centuries ago, many physicists believed in Newtonian physics, which is or Newtonian space, which is basically like a passive background, and there's nothing much happens with it. The time is also independently rolling along, and it's not connected to space itself. But then later on, with the discovery of relativity, we found out that space and time are tied together. The faster a particle or a spaceship can travel, then time varies in a different rate, and if something hits the speed of light, then time basically stops flowing for that shape or that particle. But then this discovery didn't end, and then about a year or two ago, they found in accelerators that the actual Higgs particle. So what the what the space is permeated with Higgs particles, and the Higgs particles, they interact with any kind of mass, baryonic or otherwise, and it's like an ant walking through molasses. It impedes the flow of mass. So if you want to give a mass some speed and acceleration, you have to make you have to spend energy to get this happening. And also the fact that something has mass is because of its interaction with the Higgs field around it. So, and also space itself is not empty at all. It's like a frame, and there's all kinds of virtual particles, dark matter, dark energy, and they all interact with this Higgs field. But say you had a craft, as Mr. Lazar had described, there is this halo of antimatter that surrounds this craft. Then what I surmise, or what I'm speculating that actually happens, is that this antimatter, it kind of combines or reacts to the Higgs field. So basically what is around this craft is that the Higgs field has been disabled, and there is like an envelope of basically nothing that that interacts with the universe. Okay, so if I hypothetically constructed such a craft or such a bubble outside of this craft, then this bubble can travel at any speed, because it's not interacting with the universe, it's not interacting with the Higgs field, and then it can go several times the speed of light, or many thousands of times the speed of light, because it's not interacting with the universe. It's basically disconnected from the universe. And I think this is the mechanism of how these crafts, they function. They can go so fast, and this is basically what a warp drive would look like, because inside this bubble there really isn't, it's connected to all the space, or any space that exists. Also, because the time and space are connected, then when this craft travels and lands in another space-time, then it's also landing at another time, or another future, or another past. So there's a lot of literature in ufology, and a lot of it is leaking out. Some of it, well, I'm kind of wondering, if this bubble could really travel not only through space as we know it, like go from a star to star system, but it could also travel into the interior of planets, because it's really outside of the space-time, and that space-time could be inside a solid object. But on my part, this is just speculation that, hey, something like this could happen, but I only have some literature that has been leaked out, that, hey, there is underground bases, or there is hollow earth. These ideas are very bizarre right now, but based on this physics and these speculations of Hassan, maybe there is some kind of idea that this could happen. Well, before these discoveries, or that were mostly not made by humans but by other creatures, the only way that the physicists could even talk about time travel was say there were two neutron stars and they were rotating around each other. Okay, because of the extreme gravitation, the neutron stars would be pulling on the frame of the universe, which is basically on the space itself, and twirling it around. So this would create some kind of wave or gravitational wave, but on the edges there could be like some time dilation or time effects. This is the only way that they could talk about it. Or if something is falling into a black star or anyhow, these ideas were at the periphery of quantum physics, and something that had fallen into a event horizon would be experiencing gradual time slowing down. So at the moment that's actually falling into the black star, the time would basically freeze. In some sci-fi movies, it shows that there is all this stuff as if an image on the surface or event horizon of black star. Anyhow, I've tormented you enough with these ideas. Some of them are very sci-fi-ish. But another idea that I think is very valuable is that if something is happening in reality, if in reality you see UFOs doing these things, even though it's the ideas or the things they do looks completely bizarre, but if something happens in the physical world, then it's possible, and there is a physics behind it too, and it's worth speculating about it, or try to theorize and see how it could have been. Well, thank you very much for being my YouTube channel. Please subscribe and leave comments.